In this session, we just go ahead some more deeper into the control unit. So far, we discussed about how the instruction is going to get executed. Rather, during the instruction execution, what are the phases are going to occur to the instructions. Okay, in the case of an instruction, let us understand what is the purpose of the control unit for a system. It is somewhat tricky to understand about a control unit, but nevertheless, stay focused and I'll make it very simple. How to understand, in what way we'll have to look at the control unit to understand the actual purpose of the control unit. Let us have a look at. When we let us first of all look at the basic register structure in the system. Okay, these are the registers in the memory unit, right? Okay, this is the memory unit of the system, and these are the processors register, and there will be an ALU somewhere nearby. Okay, in the same system, we're also provided with, let us say, some ALU. Okay, we do have it. Now try to understand. The control unit is going to synchronize all the activities of the system to the master clock of the system. In a previous session, I explained you people about a clock. System should be associated with a clock. Clock is going to release the clock pulses. During every clock pulse, there should be an operation performed. There should be a fixed operation performed during every instruction cycle. For an example, in T0, when the first clock pulse, during the first clock pulse, address register is going to make a transfer. Rather, program counter is going to make a transfer to the address register, right? Okay. Now, the control unit is going to receive the clock pulses, and during which it is going to enable those registers which are needed to be take part, which are needed to be involved in that specific transfer. Okay, for an example, in T0, there has to be a transfer from program counter to address register. Control unit is connected to a clock. Control unit receives the clock pulses. The moment control unit receives first clock pulse, immediately it is going to enable program counter and address register. Now program counter and address register are selected. At the same time, none of the other things in the computer system are selected. They are not going to be involved in any of the operation other than program counter and address register. In T0, no other entity of the computer system is going to be enabled. So for that reason, control unit is going to send a control signal to the program counter, a control signal to the address register to state that these two registers are going to involve in a transfer. And then you know that there is a load, there is an increment, there is a clear. Every register is provided with, rather, most of the registers are provided with load, increment, clear, right? So when a specific register's load input is enabled, then that means that that register acts as a receiving register. Try to understand. Control unit is going to enable program counter and address register at clock pulse 0, that is T0. Now, control unit should also define which is the source register, which is the destination register. Here, program counter is the source register and the address register is the destination register. Now, the control unit has an additional task of enabling the load input of the address register so that the program counter is going to transfer the contents to the address register. Okay. Now, of course, there is a bus system. This bus system also will be controlled by the control unit. I mean, there are 8 registers will be selected by this bus system. The bus system will be, controlled by a multiplexer. The multiplexer will have 3 inputs, that is S0, S1, and S2. And these selection input of the multiplexer also will be controlled by the control unit, which means that the control unit is going to send the control signals to each and every register of the computer system, as well as the memory unit, and all the multiplexers and the decoders, encoders of the system, because all the entities must be synchronized with the clock pulse. And this synchronization part will be taken care by the control unit. Okay, for an example, in T0, program counter should make a transfer to the address register. Control unit ensures that only these two registers are selected, none of the other entities are selected. In T1, memory of the address register should be transferred to the instruction register, and program counter should be incremented. That means that in T1, only these three entities are selected. Okay, that is memory unit and instruction register. The instruction register load input must get enabled. At the same time, as it is under progress, program counter should also be incremented, because the moment the current instruction get transferred to the instruction register, program counter is no longer going to hold the current instruction's address. Rather, it is going to update to the next instruction's address. For that, the input line, that is increment, needed to be enabled at the program counter. So control unit is going to enable each and every register or the memory location. And I mean, sometimes when the program is getting executed, an ALU operation is being performed, such ALU operation will also be enabled by the control unit, because ALU is going to perform many operations. Only one operation must get selected. So enabling some multiplexers and encoders and decoders, control unit is going to let this ALU know about the operation that is needed to be performed in executing that corresponding instructions, which evidently makes the control unit is the total coordinator of the system. Control unit is going to coordinate the synchronization part. I'll show you. Here you can clearly see, I mean, there will be a control unit here. This control unit is going to, synchronize all these things. Okay. Now load input has to be enabled. Initially the T0, program counter and address register should be selected. So for that, the bus system's selection inputs must be enabled appropriately. Then program counter and address register are going to get selected. And in addition to that, address register load pin should get enabled, which means that the program counter will make a transfer to the address register. Similarly, for every clock pulse, there will be a corresponding operation or a transfer that is needed to be performed. So for every clock pulse, the associated registers or the memory locations will get enabled by the control unit. So the control unit is going to take care of the total activities of the system in sync with the clock pulse. Okay. Now let us have a look at what are the jobs of the control unit. The first we understand about the timing and control. The timing for all the registers in the basic computer is controlled by a master clock generator. There will be a clock pulse. That clock pulse is going to generate the clock is going to generate a clock pulse. These clock pulses will be applied to all the registers and the main memory of the system. Okay, during the corresponding clock pulse, during the respective clock pulse, those registers will get enabled. Okay, the clock pulses are applied to all the registers and memory unit of the system. The clock pulses do not change the state of a register unless the register is enabled. Okay, for an example, in T0, only program counter and address register needed to be enabled, not any other register. So let us say in T0, is accumulator going to get enabled? No. So nothing is going to happen to the accumulator. The contents of the accumulator will not get changed. Rather, nothing is going to get happen to any of the other locations except program counter and address register during T0. Okay. The control signals are generated in the control unit. All the control signals will be generated in the control unit and provide control inputs for the multiplexers in the common bus. Of course, I told you about the common bus multiplexers. just a short while ago, the control inputs in the processor's register, the control inputs. What are the inputs for the processor's register? There could be a maximum of 3 inputs: load, increment, clear. Okay, load meaning the corresponding register, when load input gets enabled, acts as a destination register. Increment enabled, if increment gets enabled, the corresponding register contents will get incremented. Clear gets enabled, the corresponding register contents will get cleared. Who is going to do it? The control unit is going to send the appropriate control pulses, the control signals, to enable each of these operations during the corresponding their respective clock pulses. Okay, I mean, when it comes to the control unit, design of the control unit, in how many ways we can design the control unit? There are 2 ways that we can design the control unit. One is hard-wired control unit. Second one is micro-programmed control unit. Okay, let us state the difference simply in between hard-wired control unit and the micro-programmed control unit. Just try to understand the basic difference between hard-wired control unit and micro-programmed control unit. Simple. When it comes to the hard-wired control unit, let us say, I'm going to explain you guys very simply. Hard-wired control unit is just nothing but a hardware unit, okay, in which there are flip-flops, there are gates, there are decoders, encoders, and digital circuits. Okay, and in order to design the hardware control unit, what we need is we need to have combinational circuits. You know, the combinational circuits and sequential circuits in digital logic, right? What we do is we will collect a few combinational circuits, few gates, few flip-flops, encoders, decoders, multiplexers, demultiplexers, and collect them all together. We arrange them in such a way, these are going to release the corresponding control signals to the entire system. That means that a hardwired control unit is a combination of gates, flip-flops, and mux, demux, decoder, encoder, so on. Okay, and this is, and then when these are designed in such a way that these are going to provide the basic, rather, you know, the control signals to control the entire system, then this control unit is said to be hard-wired control unit. Okay, it's a demux. You know what is a demux? Okay, now this, what is a control unit? Control unit is going to provide the control signals. When the control signals are provided by, the control unit is designed by using the logics of the gates and combinational circuits such as flip-flops, multiplexers, demultiplexers, decoders, encoders, then this is said to be a hard-wired control unit. Okay, and then is an other kind of a control unit also. What is that? That is called a micro-programmed control unit. What is the difference between hard-wired control unit and a micro-programmed control unit? Let us stay focused. In the micro-programmed control unit, these control signals are programmed. All the control signals are realized by means of a program. For that, I don't require any hardware combination. I just require a place to store your programs, typically a ROM. What I do is, being a programmer, what I can do is I can design my control unit by writing code to generate the control signals. I will write the code and I will store my code which generates the control signals typically in a ROM. Total code which generates the control signals is available in a ROM. Then I will use this ROM as a control unit. That is the main difference between hard-wired control unit and micro-programmed control unit. Everything has its own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, when it comes to the hard-wired control unit, it is faster than micro-programmed control unit because always hardware is faster than program execution. Simply it's like switch on, switch off. Here we need to execute a program to generate a control signal. Here the control signals will be generated by some switch on off mechanism, in which is going to be realized by using this hardware units such as flip-flops, multiplexers, demultiplexers. So the hardware control unit is proven to be faster than micro-programmed control unit. But the problem is hard-wired control unit can never be updated. For an example, tomorrow you want to update the system. At that time, if you have hardwired control unit, you can't update the system at all, because hardwired control unit is realized by the hardware combination. Okay, so what you have to do is altogether the different control unit mechanism you need to identify and define. But when it comes to the micro-programmed control unit, simply you need to replace this RAM with another ROM, as simple as this, in which there is an updated code. So the difference between hardwired and micro-programmed is hardwired control unit is faster, micro-programmed control unit is slower, because hardwired control unit simply releases the signal by enabling some gates and flip-flops. But here I need to release a control signal by executing a program, rather a routine. Okay, mind you, I cannot use high-level language. I cannot use high-level languages to write the control routines. These are called control routines. Okay, control routines cannot be written by high-level language programs. I need to write only by using machine language instructions such as zeros and ones. That's it. Okay, fine. We'll talk about this later. Now in our system, let us design a control unit by using a mechanism of hardwired control unit. Let me show you. Let us say this is the hardwired control unit. Okay, let us understand how this is going to work.